Hey everybody, for this week's vlog, I wanted to talk about articulations. And when I create these vlogs or come up with an idea for a topic for these vlogs, many times it's because I'm having to address particular issues in lessons with my students. And so as I address these issues, I kind of think that maybe I would like to share it with those of you who are not my students, or those of you that are just practicing or what have you. Maybe you guys can get something else out of them. This week I'd like to talk about articulations, and specifically not kind of only articulating one particular way when we warm up. I know that many of us, when we do our fundamental exercises, you know, we do our long tones, our lip slurs, and maybe some kind of tonguing exercises where we, you know, play scales or scale patterns or work on multiple tonguing or some aspect of starting notes clearly and concisely, that many times I find that we articulate one way. You know, I always recommend to students, don't always just warm up at mezzo piano or mezzo forte. Really expand your range to fortissimo and pianissimo, as soft as you can play, as loud as you can play. But also, I think this could apply to articulations. Many times when we play scales, you know, we have a tendency, we want to tongue up and slur down. And when we think of tonguing, it has a particular style to it, or a certain length. Sometimes it's just a little bit of separation. Sometimes it's very staccato. And it varies from person to person. But the one thing that many students I've discovered don't include is the wide variation of different kinds of articulations in the warm-up, so that when you encounter them in music, it's already something that you have incorporated into your fundamental exercises. So it's something that sounds good and that you're familiar with. You know, we have an entire range of articulations that we can choose from. We have, of course, the basics of sostenuto or tenuto and staccato, but we also have staccatissimo, accent, marcato, and many kinds of shades in between those. And so if you're doing an articulation exercise, I highly recommend to anybody, from beginner to professional, to vary it up. Just don't go, well, I'm going to get my tongue working today, I'm going to go, you know, for clarity in notes, and just play the same way every single time. You know, for example, well, that's great. I would say that was kind of a marcato sound, maybe a slight accent. Well, maybe tomorrow I'm going to do it staccatissimo, as short, I shouldn't say short, as separated as I can possibly play, still with a resonant sound, but with a great amount of separation. Maybe the next day I'll move on to something more legato, or maybe like a tenuto, for example. And of course, you can incorporate these into scales, or if you just want to do that exercise I just did in multiple positions, and of course in different ranges, because different ranges of the instrument react differently to different kinds of articulation. So anyway, so there's this week's vlog. Vary your articulations. They are different ways of enunciating notes, and it can make music much more exciting. Just don't have a couple of things in your articulation arsenal. You got your legato tongue, your sostenuto, and something that's separated. You know, really have 100 shades of these different colors of articulations. And it makes practicing much more fun, because your music becomes more sophisticated and you are able to draw upon a bigger resource when producing music. So anyway, if you have any questions about this, or want to discuss articulations more, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. And thanks for watching.